Hi everyone, welcome to Outgrow's Marketer of the Month. I'm your host Saksham Sharda. I'm the creative director at Outgrow. And for this month, we are going to interview Nat Eliason, who is the founder and CEO of growthmachine.com. So Nat, we're going to start with a rapid fire round just to break the ice. Try to keep your
Great.
answers to one word or one sentence only.
Okay.
What's your middle name?
Kaiser.
Kaiser, like Caesar Kaiser. Okay.
Yep,
How long does
exactly.
it take you to get how long does it take you to get ready in the mornings?
I guess it depends on what you mean by ready. Oh, I have to be quick. 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes. That's not fair. That's not true. Okay, how long does it take you to get ready for morning at work when you're actually going somewhere for work?
Well, I work from home, so 5 minutes.
Oh, wait, okay. Pick one, Neil Patel or Gary Vaynerchuk.
Oh, can I pick neither?
No, you can't. How
I guess
else
I'll
are we
pick
gonna
Patel
create
then.
controversy? Did you pick one yet?
Oh, yeah, I guess I'll pick Patel then.
Okay, Neil Patel. How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
1 to 2, I'm more of a tea guy.
Okay, yeah, well, okay, I can see why. Cup and leaf might be the answer. Okay, which country will be the superpower of the 21st century?
Hmm, China?
China, okay. How many hours of sleep can you survive on?
Survive?
Mhm.
4.5?
Okay. One thing that your wife or partner finds the most annoying about you.
If it's not in my Asana or to-do list, she has to ask me to do it like 10 times.
Okay. Uh, Andrew Yang or Bernie Sanders?
Oh, Yang, all the way.
Oh my God, everyone just picks Yang. Every tech founder. Okay, what does a person need to be happy?
Hmm. Wanting less.
Oh, so anti-capitalism. All right, okay. So now I'll move on to the bigger questions. The first one is kind of a curveball. It's what's a strategy about Pinterest that most people think is true, but you think is bullshit?
Oh, that's interesting. I'm not really the Pinterest expert in our company. Our chief operating officer, Nora, she guides a lot of the Pinterest stuff that we do, and she wrote a really good article on Pinterest for our blog, and we get like 500 odd visitors a day from it for Cup and Leaf. But I would say that her, or what she might say, and what I would probably say too, is that the biggest thing with Pinterest that people get wrong is just like not doing it, especially if you're putting any energy into Instagram, because if you're trying to get traffic, somewhat naturally or organically. Pinterest, the longevity of stuff on Pinterest is so much longer than Instagram. You can have posts that continue to bring in traffic for you for months. You have to keep pinning things to stay
Mm.
relevant, but pins have great longevity. So if you're putting any energy into Instagram, simply repurposing those visuals for Pinterest is kind of a no brainer.
Yeah, and you can just do that through Buffer now, I think. Buffer has a Pinterest
Yeah,
and,
I'm pretty sure you
right?
can use Buffer, and if
Mm,
you get a good freelancer on Fiverr, then
mm,
there's usually ones who can take the normal like square things you might do for
mm,
Instagram and repurpose them into Pinterest graphics. Or if you're doing Instagram stories with ads or whatever, a lot of those story photos can make good Pinterest content. Or if you just you're writing blog articles and then you create that vertical, what is it? I think it's 6 by 9. I can't remember exactly the dimensions, but you're just creating
yeah.
those images for Pinterest and repinning most of your work along with, or pinning most of your work along with repinning a bunch of other stuff from your domain. It doesn't take that long to build up a pretty good following. I think if you look at the reach on Pinterest for something like Cup and Leaf, it gets like 1 million impressions a month, which is kind of insane. Um, and it
Mm.
doesn't take that much effort to do.
Do you reckon they chose a different dimension from Instagram just to differentiate from Instagram? Because otherwise it would just become like a Instagram copy. Well, I mean, it existed before Instagram, but I mean, like, because of Instagram's popularity, I just feel people would have just started just like taking the Instagram posts and putting them on Pinterest. I don't know. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I think, one, the Pinterest photo feed is really, really aesthetically pleasing, right? Like you
Mhm.
can scroll kind of endlessly because there's always another image popping up. Where you never get to the end of the feed because even if you're at the bottom of one image, there's a few more images that you can see like the top half of. So there's always something else to make you keep going. And so that photo shape lends itself to that kind of endless scrolling. But I think
Mhm.
they also just wanted
Yeah.
to, create a nice vertical visual format that lended itself well to fashion, to not necessarily to infographics,
Mhm.
but to kind of explanatory content because certain types of information work very, very well on Pinterest. And it's in many ways, it's like the opposite of SlideShare, right? Where the business dimensions are horizontal and the visually appealing dimensions are vertical.
Mhm.
And also, I think the
Mhm.
phone fit, right? Like Pinterest
Yeah, as
works
well.
perfectly on a
Yeah,
phone
you're
because it
right.
is a vertical device and, works much more naturally there than on desktop, which again is good for like PowerPoints that are more horizontal.
Yeah, yeah, that makes complete sense. I just started scrolling through my Pinterest feed just to like get a visual representation of what you're saying. And it is addictive because the other day, my friend wanted to order a birthday cake for her birthday. And the first thing she was like, yeah, I'm not going to go to Instagram or Google or somewhere. She said, I'm going to go to Pinterest and pick a cake from there. So for certain industries, it does tend to work very well, I think. Yeah, you're completely right there. Let's move on to the next question, which is what do you think is the reason for the growing popularity of quizzes in the information age?
I think there are two things here. One, email pop-ups are overdone and boring. And I think that's why you see certain other kinds of tools popping up to replace them. Whereas, 6 years ago, you could do an email pop up to get a PDF of, my 10 best marketing tips. And you might get like a 6, 8, 10% conversion rate. And you really don't get those rates anymore unless you're, Tim Ferriss or someone. So
Mm,
people have had to find other ways to entice people to give them their email address. And one on Shopify stores that everyone's probably seen is that like spinning wheel where you've got a chance
mm,
to win $100 gift card or whatever. And in most
mm,
cases, you don't really win anything, but they've already got your email, and so they can follow up with you that way. You see this in quiz funnels, obviously, right? Because it's a big ask to say like, give me your email address and I'll send you a buyer's guide for my product, right? Or for the area of things that you're reading about. That's better than a normal email pop up, but even better than giving your email address for a buyer's guide is, hey, like take a quiz to find out
mm,
the best tea for you. And then at the end of the quiz, say that for someone to get their results, they need to put in their email address. When we did that on our blog, it basically 5x our email signups, right, over a standard
mm,
coupon email call to action. And so even though it takes 10 times as long for the reader to do and requires following way more steps, it's much more personalized, and it gives them a lot more value than just a PDF. And I think that in order to continue to have high conversion rates to email and to have high conversion rates from content to products, you need some way to middleman the buyer journey, because the
mm,
challenge with content and with search traffic is that those readers are coming in very cold and they don't know much about your business or your product. And so you need to show them when it makes sense how the products that you have actually answer the underlying question that led them to your site in the first place. And a quiz or a way to help someone quickly filter down the types of products they might be interested in can help pretty
mm,
significantly, especially if you're in a business that has a large number of different SKUs that might be kind of
mm.
confusing to choose between.
So yeah, no, I completely agree because well, it kind of ties in with what you were saying earlier about what does a person need to be happy, and you said having less, because I think it's capitalism that provides too many options, and then there's like a decision paralysis, which I think a quiz can easily solve because it can actually help you choose, like you're saying, if there are too many services. So, yeah, that sounds and like an interesting approach as to why the quizzes are more popular and how email pop-ups, etc., are decreasing, and people become suspicious of that. But what would you have to say about then? The suspicion against quizzes that has come via the fact that it is a new territory and it is not regulated. So, whatever has happened with Cambridge Analytica, for instance, what would you have to say about that?
I mean, there's not really any data that's going into a quiz funnel that would be personally identifying or embarrassing, right? I mean,
Mhm.
if Cup and Leaf's Clavio account got hacked and someone got access to everyone's quiz answers, I mean, they would find out that Nat Eliason in Austin, Texas likes tea with caffeine, right? Like, I don't really
Mhm.
care if they know that. The issue with a lot of other data privacy stuff is, on Facebook scale, somebody who gets into that information can know well, they can figure out where you live, where your family
Mhm.
lives, where your kids go to school, like what kind of car you drive, how much money you make, where you went to university. Like they can basically completely compromise your identity short of your social security number. So you're not giving up any information on that scale. I don't think there'd be much to be skeptical of.
Yeah, I completely agree because, like, the data that's being provided is like not, as you're saying, not that relevant for someone to like do any harm to you. But yeah, okay. I was gonna say the next question is Instagram has also now started incorporating quizzes in their stories. So in an Instagram story, a user or an influencer can actually now post a quiz, and that works out for them. So do you think uh, softwares or like products like Instagram and Pinterest are also going to move towards a quiz in the future? They're going to have full functioning quiz functionalities within their interface.
Well, I mean, Instagram already does in
Yeah.
stories, right? Because
Mm,
people can create them and then, can use it to pull their followers. But in terms of using it to sell product, maybe we have seen that both Pinterest and Instagram have moved in the direction of being like shopping storefronts, right? Where people can sell products
mm,
directly in their photos and in their pins. And so if they allowed users, business or otherwise, to create some sort of funnel within
mm,
Pinterest and Instagram, that might be interesting, but I kind of doubt that would ever become an actual feature on either site just because it's not really what they're meant to do. The buying activity is sort of a secondary feature of the social following. It's not the primary feature of the platform.
mm,
Whereas, if they were actually allowing influencers and businesses and whatnot to build out quiz funnels, that would be kind of turning the buying function into the primary, reason to use
mm.
the tool. And I don't think they're going to move entirely in that direction.
Okay. So the next question is, what's the most important thing you learned from doing marketing for Cup and Leaf?
Hmm. Most important thing. I think part of it would be what we were just talking about with that paralysis of choice.
Mm,
The big issue in tea is a lot of people are interested in it and want to try to get into tea, either to get off coffee or for the health benefits or whatnot. Most people who come to our site and come to our store don't have the tools they need to make loose leaf tea, for example. And that was something we didn't realize. We assumed a lot of people who came would already be interested in tea or would already be familiar with tea. And, one, we discovered that most people had no idea how to actually start brewing loose leaf tea. And two, that nobody had any idea what kind of tea to even get. Because if you're used to just going to Starbucks or wherever and ordering like a black tea or a green tea, and then you get to the site and there's a dozen different black teas and none of
mm,
them say like just black tea, then it's sort of hard to know what to buy. And I think that was where doing a quiz funnel is really valuable for us too, was that it helped us cut through some of that confusion for our customers so that they could figure out what actually fit, what they were looking for, instead of just being overwhelmed by the abundance of options.
mm. So it's like a shop assistant who, like, if you go to buy sunglasses, he's gonna be like,
Yeah,
"Oh, I can help you out." If you're gonna buy tea, it's like, "Oh, tell me your preferences and I can help you." So it's like a virtual shop assistant.
exactly. That's a good analogy.
Yeah, okay. So in at Outgrow, in addition to quizzes, because like we also like the software Outgrow provides allows people to make quizzes without developers. We also like have other kinds of interactive content like calculators, tests, polls, e-commerce recommendations, which is really like a shop assistant, and then chatbots, forms, and contests. So, what other forms of interactive content would you recommend to your audience in addition to a quiz? Like keeping in mind this whole discussion we've had about the information age and everything, what other kinds of interactive content do you think would provide engagement?
I like the quizzes. I like the chat bots, especially the ones that feed into Messenger, because that can have a
Mm,
really high response rate and open rate for when you're following up with people in it. Um, I like the store activity feeds, so kind of like FOMO or Proof or one of those tools where you can see, what
mm,
other people in the store are buying. I think those are the big ones. I
mhm.
generally dislike the really aggressive email pop-ups, the full screen takeovers, all of those. They have their time and place. They can be effective, but some of these
Mm,
more conversational, more helpful tools like you're talking about, I think just one, they convert better, and two, they create a better experience for the end user than just being aggressive with pop-ups.
mm, Yeah, okay. So as long as like they're not aggressively harming the user, so it has to be like part of a flow, I think. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, you don't want to make
Okay,
it
so I
feel like
think
a
that
scammy sales site.
yeah, okay. I think that covers everything. And thanks for letting us interview you. And everyone, do check out Nat's website, growthmachine.com. And also do check out Cup and Leaf and their tea quiz, which is pretty interesting.